Yeah, still don't like it. Oh. Perhaps I'm going to have another look at it. Now I've had the oil pressure relief valve out, and that to me looked like it was assembled wrong. So we'll have another look at that in a minute just to see. But this oil thing's an issue. And I've ordered an O-ring for there because I thought that you know, maybe it's got the wrong one in it or something. You know, I don't know really. But that's not turned up. So this morning I just sealed it up with some sealant and the original O-ring, or the O-ring that was in there. But obviously it's just done this. Now since my first start tonight, when it did that and chucked it out, I took that apart, and it looked to me like someone had assembled it round the wrong way. I mean, obviously I've put that correct now, or what I think is correct. But we might have a look in the manual in a minute, see if we can find more information on that. But obviously now that's popped. It's obviously, you know, it's hemorrhaged out, and it's not going to fix itself, is it? So that's intriguing, but without a good seal, I don't know what to do about that. You know, we're mucking around with sealants, and it's not going to hold it, is it? But it sounds quite healthy. Now I have got the radiator, and I was thinking we could sort of mount that up, get some water in it, and sort of run it up to temperature and see what it sounds like. But with this oil coming out, I'm not so sure that's worth the bother. I think we might be wasting our time. So perhaps what we'll do is I'll see if I can find the manual and see what information I've got on that oil pressure relief valve. We'll have a look at that, just to sort of see if I was correct and it was assembled wrong. I'm convinced it was, but I don't know if that's our problem. So I'll go and have a look for that. Right, I'm going to take this centrifugal oil, I'm going to take this oil pressure relief valve off so we can have another look at it and see what was going on, because that was assembled round the wrong way. So that's the centre nut, holds a spring. Then this is the outer, which will take the whole thing off. So let's get it off and have a look and see what we got. We can have a look at that because I've just confirmed by looking in the book that it was round the wrong way. We should have. Right, so yeah, we got oil there. So there's definitely oil there. Earlier it seemed a bit dry. So this little piece in here was round the wrong way, but we'll have a look at that on the bench in a minute. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. But what I'm going to do now is take the centrifuge off again, because I just want to have another look at that inside that. So that's just left loose at the minute. Let's undo that. I'll put something to catch the oil. We'll undo that and have a look and see what we got. See, I'd have thought that sealant would be enough to hold that back, but I guess it will just pop it if there's too much pressure there. But what I don't understand is why there's quite so much pressure there. I mean, obviously, if that relief valve wasn't working. That would have been part of, maybe it popped it on the first run, you know, when it first fired up it popped it, and of course once it's gone, isn't it? And it's pushing past it. But that still seems a bit puzzling to me. But I can't remember if I ever actually ran this engine when I got it. So this might be someone else's problem we're inheriting. There's plenty of oil in there. Then we'd expect that, wouldn't we? Let's get a light and we'll have a proper look at it, see what we can see. So it's got to get into here somehow. It's got to come out the crank somehow and then get back in, hasn't it, somehow? So quite how that does it, I don't know. So I think we'll take this, let's get this nut off here and see what we got. I need to sort of understand this a bit better to understand what is actually happening. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me at the minute, what we got. Yeah, you see, I used plenty of sealant on it this morning. You'd have thought that would have worked, wouldn't you? Right, let's get something to undo that lock tab. Be careful there, it's losing some bits off it. We don't want them going in the oil gallery. Right, let's find a socket. We'll undo that, let's just see what size we got. 32 by the looks of that. Let's see if we've got a 32mm socket, which we will have. Get that off and see what we got. Okay, so we'll get the gun in a minute and have a go at this. Okay, well that's our lock tab, and that's our guide, isn't it? So, yes, there must be passageways through here, you see, to get back in there, mustn't there? So it must come out of here and then go through here and then find its way back in there. You see there's like a sort of gap there? So it must go through there somehow. That's what it looks like is happening. There's like a void there. So yeah, you see this, it must come in here. So it either comes out of there into here and then goes back that way, or vice versa, comes here and that throws it out to here and then the void goes back in there. I'm not sure which way round that goes. But I can't see there's any problem there, is there? I mean, that's not obstructing anything, is it? So I can only think the problem we're having here is just more of the same, isn't it? Of this O-ring's no good, and it's popped it. Now I think it's because it had too much pressure because of that old pressure relief valve. But I think now it's gone, if you see what I mean. I think that's our issue. And without having the correct thing, we're not going to do much with it, are we? Yeah, there's nothing obstructing that, so I can't see any problem. Okay, let's have a... I think we'll pop it back together, I think, is probably the right thing to do, isn't it? And see what's what. So I guess that's got to go on there. Those tangs go in there like that. Any debris. Yeah, you see those must fit in there somehow. Doesn't fit very nice, does it? See, those tangs are supposed to line up with that. I could do with a new lock washer, couldn't I, by the looks of that? That lock washer's a bit not much cop, is it? Yeah, well, I haven't got a new lock washer. I can get one, but I ain't got one here, so we'll have to sort of centralise this, which is what this nut has, the tube on the end of it. Did we see that? Look, let's have a look. See that shoulder? That's to centralise everything. So that's what it's for. So that will centralise this oil thrower, and it'll centralise that lock tab, and it'll all sit nice together then, won't it? Now I would pull the crank pulley off itself, but this belt is so tight because it's the wrong belt, because I could only get one belt today for this job, and I wanted to run them up. So I'm not going to muck about taking that off, because I can't see I can't see why that's not returning from there, and I'm sure it is. So I'm convinced that's working correctly, but I think we've just got too much oil pressure there because of the relief valve, because it has to go via the relief valve to go down into the sump, and I reckon that's what's going on. We'll have a look at the manual in a minute. Now let's just get this back together. Right. I don't like the look of this tab. Well, sure, it's all horrible and falling apart, but it might be that it's worth doing something with. Well, I'm going to lower that to give it a bit more room. I just want to peen it over enough so that we've got it on there, in case it doesn't get, in case for whatever reason something happens and we don't come back to it for a while and it gets forgotten about. So I'll just knock that over. And this isn't the best thing. This is a bit sharp, this chisel, but it will do for what we're trying to do. Right, okay, well that'll hold it for now. That's all we're going to need to do. So let's try putting this back in, this seal. I'll try and clean some of this old silicone off of it. What we'll do next is we'll take that relief valve out, and I'll show you what I found with that. And then we might try one more run, but there's no point trying to put the water in it and run it for any longer, because we're not going to keep enough oil in it, are we, for any length of time? But I don't think this oil seal, I think this old O-ring is something wrong with it, isn't it? I don't think it's the right one. Or I don't know, to be honest, I don't know why it's not working. You'd think it would put up with it, wouldn't you? But I guess if that oil pressure relief valve is not working, we're going to have so much oil pressure there, it is going to find a way out. And once it's found a way out, it's not going to fix itself, is it? You're not going to even need much oil pressure at all for it to keep coming out. Right, that's that. Now oil pressure relief valve. So we get that out. I'll leave the washer here. So it forces against there, and then it lifts it off its seat here and then squirts out of there, and that's how it works. Now I've undone this, and we've got a spring behind this. This is sprung loaded. But what we'll do, let's go and have a look on the bench next door, where we've got a bit more room and a bit more light, and we're not going to drop it on the dirty old floor. So let's go and do that. Right, so there we go. So let's get the back off it. Let's wind that out. There you go. So there's your spring. And in here we've got our seated little pellets of seat. There you go, it's popped out. And that's it. And that wants to go that way round. That's how it wants to go. Now, when I took it out earlier, that was like that, around the wrong way. So, that ain't any good, is it? Yeah, no good that way, and that's not the way it goes. So what I'll do is just wipe some of this oil up. And I'll just clean my hands up and we'll have a look at it. But yeah, so what you've got that slot there, the slotted bit there, that's got a drilling in it. So that's got a little drilling goes all the way through it, there. And this end's got a drilling through there into there. So that's sort of there, and then that does seat, seems to seat about there. So when that pushes there, when the oil pressure builds up too much, it unseats it from there and allows that to open up, which allows it to pass, pass back down into the sump when you've got too much oil pressure there. And I think the idea of these drillings is to allow oil to go that gets stuck behind here so it doesn't hydraulic behind it, if you see what I mean. Because otherwise, if you get a volume of oil here, it's going to hydraulic. So you need, as it pushes back, it needs to be able to get that oil that's stuck in here to come back through there. Now, I think that's the idea of it. Well, of course, if it's that way round, it would have been hydraulicing up, wouldn't it? And it wouldn't allow it to push backwards. Plus, it wouldn't have that, so I think that was all completely wrong. But if I grab the manual, we can just check what it looks like on the manual, just to have a look and see and prove the point. But I want clean hands because I don't want to ruin the manual. Okay, here's the book, shop manual, so that's the right thing, isn't it? And here's our oil system. So it's showing how it works. Now this is the early engine with the other oil filter. They do still have a centrifuge, these. But to prove my point, that's where it sort of goes, doesn't it? So it's obviously coming up from the oil pump. It's coming up from the oil pump. It's going via the relief valve there. Main gallery's there. And you can see it pushes there. And then it unseats and goes through them holes and goes back to the sump if you've got too much oil pressure. So it works the way I say it does. That's your oil pressure switch light on there. And there's your main oil gallery, and then it goes down into the crankshaft here. But it's not showing us the centrifuge. But the red is the oil. So the red's the oil, showing you the filter and so on, and going up to the rockers and so on. So it shows the whole thing. But it's not, but it does have arrows. It shows how it goes up. It goes up from the pump there, out to the relief valve there, and then returns down here. But obviously goes up into the main oil gallery to wherever it needs to go. But anyway, that's that. But if we turn the page, I think it was back. There's our oil pressure relief valve. There we go. So there's our schematic of it. And it clearly shows it that way round, doesn't it? Which is what we got over here, isn't it? Look, that's what it is. Shows it that way. So that was assembled wrong. When I got to that first, earlier today, that was round that way. But this was after that had been assembled that way round, which I had a hunch about that, didn't I? I said about that. But of course, I'd already run it like that, and it had already popped that thing again. So it's already happened. And here's another little diagram of it showing what it would do. Showing it shows in there it that way round, doesn't it? So let's put it back in that way round. And we'll have one more go at running it. But I suspect we're going to have more of the same, aren't we? Which is a bit of a shame, really, isn't it? Because I was sort of high hopes for it, really. But, yeah, so if we look at this, if we come and have another look at this here before I fully assemble it. So that's pushed back down into here. So you can see it's gone onto there, which is where it seats. And we haven't got this full spring tension on it, but you can see it does that. So that pushes past there. So as that pushes past here, so it allows that bit to go back past here, which allows any oil that's behind here to squeeze out those little holes and allow it to escape. And then as that opens up there, you see it opens up and it will return. Let's put the light behind it. See? So allow it to return back down to the sump, won't it? So that's it. But with that assembled the other way round, that's not going to allow any oil that's behind here to come back past it, and that's going to hydraulic up and not allow that to force back. So I think that was what was going on. I think that was the problem. But until we get a new oil seal in there and get it to actually seal, I can't be, confident that the issue's fixed. We still got oil flying out of there, which isn't what we want. Well, stop the back panel going rusty, won't it? But it's not going to. It ain't going to be much use, is it? A fug of oil mist as you're following the little 600. Right, let's go and put it in. So we've got a washer there, haven't we, to go on it. But what was intriguing was the first time I used it, first time I took this out, there wasn't any real oil behind it. It seemed a bit weird, but it might have been just strained back. But there's definitely oil coming out there now, which we can prove by just giving it a quick crank over, can't we? So why don't we just wind that over very quickly and see if the oil comes out of there, and see if we've got, you know, if it's raising the oil and coming out of there, which it should be, we'd hope. Let's get a bit of light on it. See if we can catch some. See, so it's pumping plenty of oil up there, isn't it? So we can show it's working. So we know it's working, we know we've got oil pressure there. So that's all right. Well, we'll put this back on and we'll just nip them up. And then we'll have one more go at starting up. So this inner one is the actual body of it, isn't it? So you do that up, nip that up. And then we can do the plunger up, can't we? The one that holds the plunger in, as it were. And that's fitted. And you could adjust that with different washers, you know, if you know, by putting more washers in there, you could take the pressure off the spring a bit. So but we don't want to do that. There's, on the Dinos they're fully adjustable, but on this we don't, Technically, you can adjust it with shimming it and so on. You could put something behind the spring to shim it to get, to wind up the oil pressure a bit. But we don't want to adjust it. We've already got too much. So, shall we go for a little fire up and see what we're doing? Now, what we're hoping for is that now we've filled that carburettor up, we're hoping you've actually got some fuel up and it will actually run without keep chucking the brake spray down it. But we'll see, and then we'll know about this oil, won't we, as well? So we'll leave that light on, then we'll see the fug of oil, won't we? That's a tidy old mess, isn't it? So, that is, we've still got our issue, which I'm hoping will be cured by a new oil seal. But we'll have to wait for that. Please, Mr. Postman. Bring our oil seal. So yeah, we'll see. But anyway, it's not going to go rusty, is it? Have a reputation for rusting quick. Well, it won't now. So that's enough of that. I'll say good night.